Of course I'm making this episode. Money is needed to live, and we eat, sleep, and breathe writing. So we better make some bucks off of it. Who doesn't love money? I know I certainly do. After all, I'd say yes every time I got called into work because I knew it would end up being more money in my bank account in the long run. But what about writing? Sure, there are obvious ways to make money from your writing, such as publishing your books on Amazon Kobo, or even trying to get them published more traditionally. But what about the less obvious ways to make money from writing? And let me tell you, there are tons. So to start off, let's go over the obvious ways. So on the Amazon and Kobo sites, there's an option to publish your books. Keep in mind that Kobo only offers ebook publishing. And both of these are completely free, unless of course you choose to hire some people to edit and create your covers. Amazon offers free ISBNs on their site if you wish to publish with them, though for Kobo you need to get your own. Luckily, in Canada, ISBNs are completely free. You just need to go to the ISBN Canada's Canadian Archives and Library. Though I'm not sure how it works in other countries, I am pretty sure that Americans have to pay for ISBNs. And for those who don't know, ISBN stands for International Standard Book Number. Basically, an ISBN is meant to identify a book that is unique, which is why low-content books like journals or agendas shouldn't have ISBNs because they aren't unique and tend to have multiple different exterior designs with the same interiors. You could also go through a traditional publishing company, but please, make sure to do your research into them, because there are possibly millions of publishing companies out there. So much so that my second ever podcast episode is about scamming publishing companies, and I'll probably be making a part 2 of that eventually as well, since I no longer have And I'll probably be making a part 2 of that eventually as well, since I no longer have the 15-minute episode limit. So really, if you'd like to publish your book traditionally, then I'd recommend looking on the information page of the books that you already own and begin doing research into those ones. And yes, as I am sure I had announced already, I do own a publishing company. However, I don't feel quite comfortable just yet to publish other people's hard work and risk it not doing well. So instead, I'll focus for the first little while on publishing my own books and adjust accordingly, then go on to publish other people's works. Though if people would like to take the risk of having their book published and keep in mind the potential chance of it not doing well, then feel free to reach out to me. Alright, next up, writing competitions. There are tons out there. It can be just as simple as a Google search and some research. Not all writing competitions have cash prizes though. For instance, the ones on Instagram that I've won a few of only have shoutouts, which is good too as long as people actually decide to follow. But there are plenty of cash prize contests as well. For example, Readsy. Readsy holds weekly writing contests where readers vote on the best story and the winner gets a $250 cash prize. And the stories don't have to be that long either. The minimum word count is just 1,000 and the maximum being 3,000. So yeah, a good hour to type out for the fast typers out there. Though I wouldn't recommend applying to contests that have a registration fee, since that means you'll end up losing money if you lose. But hey, if you're confident and you want to apply to as many contests as possible, then be my guest. Just make sure to do your research in order to avoid being scammed. Next up, freelancing. You can sign up for sites like Fiverr, Upwork, and Freelancer and search for jobs that are looking for content writers or ghostwriters. Be sure to keep in mind how much they're willing to pay though, and calculate how long it takes you to write, say, 1,000 words on average. Because plenty of the freelance job postings offer pay of around 1 cent per 10 words. So if it takes you an hour to write 1,000 words, then you'd only be making $1 an hour. So yeah, make sure to do your calculations, and I'd suggest only applying to jobs where the pay will equal out to minimum wage in your area. So for instance, in Ontario, the minimum wage is currently $15.50. Until October, then it'd be around $16.50 an hour. So in order to get paid the minimum wage for my province, I would have to be getting paid 15 cents and an extra 5 afterwards. So like 0.155 per 10 words. Though by then it'll be best to just round up because there isn't a coin smaller than 1 cent. So I'd have to aim for 16 cents per 10 words, which will bring us to $16 an hour. Then you'd also have to keep in mind breaks or perhaps a mild writer's block that makes you, let's say, unable to get as many words out as fast. So I'd say it'd be best to aim for around 20 cents per 10 words. So then can equal to $20 an hour if you write 1,000 words an hour. But if you're a bit slower, then it'll still equal to around minimum wage. But now, I have to break something to you all. It's not typically paid at an average rate of 1 cent per 10 words. It's normally paid at 1 cent per 100 words. So in reality, after 1,000 words, you would have only made 10 cents. Let me reiterate that. The average for a freelance position will only pay you around 10 cents an hour. That doesn't sound fair, huh? This is why you should look into the rates that a person is willing to pay and do the calculations to know how much it'll take you to get paid minimum wage in your area. And of course, aim higher if you're able to. So be safe, everyone, do your calculations, and don't settle for inhumane payments. Oh, and don't forget about site fees. Sites will also charge a certain percentage of your pay, so then they can keep the site up and running, of course. So just make sure to add the correct increase. Alright, next. More social media sites such as Patreon or commissions through Instagram. I have a Patreon set up for the premium episodes of my podcast, as you all know, where I read chapters of my published novels past chapter 10, so then people can just pay a low fee in order to be able to enjoy my writing. Then, there are also higher levels where people can get behind the scenes recordings, live streams, merch, be able to come onto the podcast, have one-on-one meetings with me, and much more. So that's something that you can do with your Patreon. Share videos or posts of your short stories and such, and interact with them accordingly. Hell, you can do whatever you'd like. Just like with Instagram as well, you can grow your following and eventually start accepting commissions from people who would basically give you a prompt of sorts for a certain amount of money, and then you can fulfill it. Which, like with the freelance, except with this, you can be more demanding on how low you're willing to go. Then there are also fan fiction sites. These include sites such as Wattpad, Webnovel, which I've explained before that I don't recommend, but it's still a choice. Basically, for Webnovel, if you get contacted for the chance to sign a contract to start making money, ask for a non-restricted contract, or however it's called, I forget what it's called. That way you'll still be allowed to post your stories elsewhere, and basically still have ownership of it, so you can create merch and other sorts of ways. So basically, just for a bit of context, you guys all know how I basically read chapters of my story Shrouded Personas. Well, it was originally called Drawn Blades, which I had signed with Webnovel because they sent me a contract and it looked decent enough in terms of like a little bit of extra pay. Except I didn't realize a non-restricted contract was allowed, and so I ended up getting into a lot of beef with them and yada yada. So yeah, I ended up changing the name of the novels to Shrouded Personas, and that means I have ownership of it again, basically. Making your money, non-restricted contract, or whatever it's called, you'll still be allowed to post your stories elsewhere, and basically still have ownership of it like I do. But in the end, I don't recommend Webnovel. I've had one editor there that threatened to sue me because I asked if I could change my contract. There are also plenty of other sites as well, such as Quotev, Inkitt, and FIB, and many more, but keep in mind that not all of them have like commission and like payment options at the moment, but there's always the possibility for one to be added in the future. And finally, sites where you can share your writing and even possibly record audiobooks for your writing as well. There are two that I'll be talking about for this section, one of which is called Vocal. Vocal is basically a site where you can participate in challenges, share stories, and even write blogs or news articles. The challenges appear to have a grand prize of $500 if you win, and typically require extremely low word counts. Like one of the challenges I've looked at, the maximum word count was only 200 words, so it's very easy to pump out a short story for. Then, if you choose to upload your own stories, then you can make around $4, slightly less than that, for 1,000 words for 1,000 views, and even make a $5 bonus for your first 1,000 views. There are plenty of other bonuses that you can acquire as well just by simply sharing a story. So go ahead and check out Vocal Media. It's quick and easy to sign up, and it's just another area to potentially make more money passively. And then there's Audible. And yes, you can publish a book and be the narrator for it. Though it does tend to be very specific on the quality of audio it requires, so make sure it fits within the specifications. But yeah, basically just go to ACX and sign up to be a narrator. Then if you've already published your book, then you can search for it and record the audio for it. Once it's all done, then you can go ahead and publish the audiobook. As for the recording software, I highly recommend using Audacity. It's completely free, has plenty of editing options, quick and easy to learn, and is even recommended by ACX itself. Hell, I even use it for my podcast recording episodes. For my podcast episode recordings. But yeah, there are all the ways you can make money as an author, and I'll be sure to make another episode in the future on this if I find more sites and sources that pop up that can be useful to you all. Check out my novels Death Chill, Flame Rip, and Arctic Blaze on Amazon Kobo, link in description. Check out the Creative Writing Club Premium on Patreon and Spotify, link in description. Check out the Creative Writing Club Discord server in description. Check out my personal Instagram at dark_night_wolves. Now let's go get that bag.